Thanks to its larger 1-inch sensor, the Mini 5 Pro raises the bar in terms of photo quality, compared to previous model of the DJI lightweight line. However, to get the best results, it is crucial to expose correctly. In this video, I will show you all you need to know to achieve the best exposure for still images. The choice of light conditions is crucial for optimal results. The central hour of a sunny day are to be avoided, as the shadows are very harsh and the contrast too strong. The best conditions for drone photography are during the 2 hours before and after sunrise or sunset, known as golden and blue hour. Another possibility is when the sun is covered by clouds, delivering softer shadows. The idea is to reduce the dynamic range, which is the difference in luminosity between highlights and shadows. My favorite time is about half an hour after sunset, with the last twilight acting as the fade light and the artificial lights as the main source. The histogram is the only tool I use for exposure. It tells us a lot about a scene's lighting conditions. When the bars touch the right edge, the image is overexposed. This must be avoided, as burnt highlights cannot be recovered while editing. I always make sure to leave a gap between the last bar to the right and the right edge of the histogram, to preserve the highlights. When a few bars touch the left edge, the shadows will be dark, but can still be recovered in post-processing to some extent. But when too many bars are clustered against the left edge, the shadows will definitely be too dark. When most bars are in the central part, with gaps on both sides, the image has low contrast. These are ideal conditions and correspond to the best hours of the day mentioned earlier. It will be simple to add a bit of contrast while editing for excellent results. When the bars touch both the right and left edges of the histogram, we are in a high dynamic range scene, generally with the camera pointing towards the sun. These are the most difficult situations. It is better to leave a small gap to the right to preserve the highlight. The shadows will be very dark, but we can try to recover them at least partially with some advanced post-processing or by merging to HDR, as we will see later on. For this reason, beginners should avoid shooting photos toward the sun. When shooting footage, auto exposure causes annoying shifts in brightness when the luminosity changes. This is not an issue with still images, therefore automatic exposure can be used successfully for drone photography. In auto mode, the exposure is set by the software. We can only access the EV value to adjust the overall luminosity. I prefer to set it to -0.3 or -0.7 to prevent overexposure. As we will see later, an even better solution is to use automatic exposure bracketing. In photography there are 3 exposure parameters: ISO, aperture and shutter speed. But with Mini 5 Pro, as with most other prosumer drones, we only have 2 parameters to deal with, as the aperture is fixed. When using manual exposure, we can set the values for ISO and shutter speed independently. The value at the bottom cannot be modified, as it displays the luminosity resulting from the values chosen above, compared to the optimal exposure computed by the software. For ISO, it is preferable to use the base value, 100, for best image quality. With its large sensor, the Mini 5 Pro collects plenty of light, and we rarely need to increase the ISO. If needed, we might push it to ISO 800 with no noticeable loss of quality. Regarding shutter speed, we can avoid any unwanted motion blur issue by setting a value of 1/3 of a second or faster, if the scene contains moving elements or the aircraft is moving during the shots. Slower shutter speed can be used for unusual creative photos. The aircraft motion can be used for long exposure shots with surprising results. Experiment with shutter speed between 1 and 2 seconds by flying towards the target forward, backward, or even sideways for different effects. The blurring effect is more pronounced at a slower shutter speed and when flying closer to the ground. Another variation is to turn the camera down for a top-down shot to take photos while descending or ascending. With the aircraft in a static position, a shutter speed of 1/5 of the second or slower generates some blur in the element in motion to make them appear as we would see them in real life. The slower the shutter speed, the more pronounced the blurring. The still elements should remain unaffected by the blur. The drone doesn't necessarily need to be flying. In urban situations, we can position it on a level surface and use it as a traditional camera. In the Mini 5 Pro, the slowest available shutter speed is 2 seconds. There is also a simulated long exposure mode with values from 2.5 to 8 seconds for extreme results. To use long shutter speeds in different light conditions, a set of ND filter is needed. You will find a link to the one I suggest in the description of this video. In the video photo menu, we can select Automatic Exposure Bracketing Mode to record the same shot with 3, 5 or 7 different exposure values. When shooting photos, I always use this mode to make sure that at least one copy is perfectly exposed, a sort of insurance against wrong exposures. It is also possible to merge the shot into HDR to improve the rendering of images taken in difficult light conditions. In previous DJI lightweight models, the resulting images often look overprocessed, while the Mini 5 Pro produces sensational results even in the most difficult situations. To merge the images to HDR, I use Luminar Neo, my favorite photo editing program. You can find info about Luminar Neo together with a discount coupon, code VICVideoPic, in the description. It is an affiliate link, so I get a small commission in case of purchase. Click on this link to watch my video about photography with the Mini 5 Pro. And don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video interesting. Thank you.